He said racers in the drag and drive community need to treat their shocks like driveline components. Get out of here. Maintenance? What are you talking about? They need to be sent in for maintenance before there's a known problem. The reasons that you could end up chasing phantom issues while at an event, not even realizing it's your shocks because they're worn out. Guys, hey, welcome to the Drag Driver Pete News presented by Summit Racing Ford. Drag scene, our boy Brian Wagner posted an article, got with our guy Eric Safell, who's at AFCO, for a conversation. They were at PRI both, obviously, and so he stopped by the booth, kind of talking to Eric about shock maintenance, which is pretty boring stuff, obviously, but as we lead into a whole new year, a lot of racers, 3 or 4 events last year, a lot of street miles on their car. Eric basically is, he told Brian, he said, if your lights are not what they once were, that could be a sign your shocks are getting tired. The car might feel lazy, slow, or just erratic. You'll see this when you let go of the button in the same spot and all of a sudden you're going red or you're going dead late. This is due to the shocks not reacting the same because they need to be freshened up. I thought this was a pretty interesting thing as we go into, I know sick week is only 6 weeks away and you probably don't have time to get that turned around, but I thought this may be good for folks that aren't necessarily going to sick week, but hey, when's the last time you had your shocks freshened? When's the last time, are you chasing stuff? You're putting more power in now at the hit because you're like, oh man, I need this. I'm not getting the ETs. I'm not getting the 60-foot times I had. Is it because it's something as simple as your shocks? It's not that you need more power. It's just that your shocks are getting a little worn out.
Yeah. Big Block here saying he picked up a 2021 Raptor engine to swap into his 97 regular cab F-150. So we'll make a decent drag and drive truck. Going to take a while to build a 3.5 high output EcoBoost with a 10-speed. That'll be pretty fun.
That'll be an awesome drag and drive rig for sure. I think it'll scoot down the road there. Eric also said drag and drive competitors also put their shocks through significant abuse, which we all know. He said not only are the shocks exposed to extreme conditions at the track, but they also absorb every bump, dip, and pothole during the street driving. That's one thing that's been great about drag and drive is it has probably helped every manufacturer build better components because of the abuse that it goes through.
Yeah.
Out there. So he said racers in the drag and drive community need to treat their shocks like driveline components. Get out of here. Maintenance? What are you talking about? They need to be sent in for maintenance before there's a known problem. The reasons that you could end up chasing phantom issues while at an event, not even realizing it's your shocks because they're worn out. Just thought that was a pretty cool article. Great job to Brian Wagner, who we had in the booth during PRI, but Eric is our guy. That's one thing that's great about having somebody like Eric Safell and AFCO Racing tied to Drag Driver Pete is we can dig in and ask those questions, and this is a great conversation. So probably going to add Eric onto the list of guests, maybe to fill some slots in early 2026, just so we can kind of remind people, hey, it's probably a good idea to do these kind of things.
Right.
Maintenance on spark plugs and turbos and all that get first choice transmissions, axles, all that stuff. But I mean, dude, can you imagine losing time just because your shocks need to be refreshed and you're just chasing that for weeks? I don't understand. My 60 foot's down, my lights, I'm turning worse lights, and all this because of that. So pretty interesting. AFCO Racing Products, racers know when you want performance that wins, you want AFCO. From shocks and suspension to cooling, brakes, and more, AFCO Racing has been helping teams go faster for over 30 years. Built by racers for racers. Check out the AFCO Advantage and follow them today on your favorite social media. AFCO Racing, built to win.
Yep.
Yeah, I like Brooks there. He said, you have to maintain components on your car. Brooks knows.
Yep.
And then shout out to Caitlin Ward. This shot is from her in Dragzine. Pretty cool. The one thing, this is probably a drag and drive car. I don't know whose car that is. It's not Doug's. But there were no drag and drive cars in that article.
Oh,
this is obviously a street car here, but I was like, what the heck, man? You're talking about drag and drive all the time. So anyways, it was pretty cool. So big shout out to Dragzine for all the coverage they're providing for all the drag and drive stuff. I know that Brian's going to be down at sick week, so that'll be fun kind of hanging out with that guy. And then he's full on. They just did Horsepower Wars with the C10 drag and drive with Eric Yost building one, and then Big 3 Racing, who really love both those guys and their shops. So I can't wait to see how that outcomes. Both those trucks were at PRI, and then they're building their own car. John Moore of Moore Performance with the Grand Marquis or the Crown Vic, he's building like a 1,500 plus horsepower 51 or 53 Dodge for Brian to take on Dragon Drive. So it's gonna be pretty crazy. They're fully bought in. Yeah. It's a drag and drive scene, I think is what it should be called now. Anyways, thanks to
Hey,
thanks to AFCO for all the help they provide us and all the cool stuff. Hashtag race car friends in the chat there. We appreciate all of you guys. It's been a crazy year and it's only going to get better. I promise. I promise we're working on a ton of fun stuff for everybody. And thanks to our sponsors, man. 2025 has been our most incredible year, and it really comes down to a lot of it is these sponsors right here. I mean, they made this year possible with the travel and equipment and dude, rental cars. I mean, we've never rented that many rental cars before, and made that many trips, drove that many miles. It was pretty crazy year. So if you guys are doing some shopping, please hit these guys up, see if they got something you can use. Summit Racing, Deech Works, the official fuel delivery of Drag Drive Repeat, Molly Pistons. You know, I mean, look, if you want to squinch some fuel, you got to do it with Molly Pistons. Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, AFCO Racing Products, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Chains 3D, and you know, you guys, you can watch our stuff also on PowerTube TV. You can find a bunch of cool stuff on WAF Racing, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds, which Eric has some super cool stuff for Racing Junk at the end of the show.